Now, who is not trying to escape in this modern day world? Everybody is going through insecurities, everybody is going through depression, anxiety, panic, everything, right? Both him and his wife, Louisa, are both looking for this third level in the Grand Central Station. Charlie, it's true. I found the third level. Sam now claims to have found the third level. Hello and a very warm welcome to your prep school English classes. I am your English teacher, Kshama. Today in this session of your prep school English class, we are going to visit the third level. Yes, you heard me right. Now this third level, not many care to venture through it, or not many have the guts to venture through it. Only some know that it exists. Why are we talking about it in such a mysterious manner? Let's find out, shall we? So in this session today, we are venturing into your first lesson from the textbook Vistas, which is your supplementary reader named as the third level. So in this session, without wasting any time, we are going to talk about the author, who is the author and what are his details, the background to the story, what is exactly happening in the story, who are the protagonists, where are they going, what are the events, and then summarize the lesson at the end with revisit to all the events that are happening in the story. Now, without wasting any time, let's understand about the author, Jack Finney. His full name is Walter Braden Jack Finney. Where is he from? He's an American writer and his best known works are science fiction and thrillers. Nice, isn't it? So you can expect a lot of thrilling events in this particular lesson as well. Then, including the Body Snatchers and Time and Again. His two of the notable works are the Body Snatchers and Time and Again. He's an American author who is famous for science fiction and thrillers. Now, understanding his story might take a lot of our intellectual abilities, concentration and everything. Do not miss out on any events that are happening in the story. Pay close attention and be ready to give it your own interpretation. It's all about supplementary. It's all about, extensive reading. Take your textbook, read through it thoroughly and get to know all the new words, difficult vocabulary that is used in this text. Okay. What is the event that is happening over here? Here, the main character in the story, let me introduce him to you. It's Charlie. He is an ordinary guy, just like any other guy who is 31-year-old. He has a wife named Louisa. Simple. There's nothing strange about him. We have met Charlie, who is 31-year-old and has a wife called Louisa. Now, what is the extraordinary thing that has happened to him? Let's discover. Okay. So, now he says that the president of the New York Central or the New York Haven, they would only say that there are only 2 levels in the Grand Central Station. Okay. Clear? There's no doubt till now. But Charlie over here tells us that there are 3 levels, not just 2. He claims to have seen and visited the third level. Now, how is it that it is possible? When all the people around him who have seen that there are only 2 levels in this Grand Central Station, okay? How is it that this guy is claiming that there are 3? Interesting, isn't it? Now, Charles claims to have seen the third level. What is this third level? Let's see. Now, his psychiatrist friend, he has, obviously taken advice. Whenever he has told this to people have told him, dude, you really should consider taking therapy. He has gone to his therapist friend and he has, expressed all these things. I have been to the third level and this is how it is. His psychiatrist friend has an explanation to it and he has told, this is like a waking dream wish fulfillment, which means there are a lot of miseries, there are a lot of difficulties, tensions in the world out there. Now, this third level you claim to have visited is like your temporary escape. He says this visit of yours is metaphorical in nature. Meaning to say you have not really been there, but it's like an escape world that you have created for yourself. How when we were young, people used to tell us, young kids would close themselves inside the wardrobe and felt like they were being transported into another world. Or for us, Harry Potter, all these, the world in the Narnia, all of these were world of refuge where kids, they would not feel comfortable here, or if somebody has scolded them, they would try to transport themselves metaphorically into some other world, some other way possible, right? Similarly, his psychiatrist friend feels that this might have been what you have done, okay? So, modern world is full of insecurity, fear, war and worry. So, hence, this escape mechanism that you're talking about, third level, does not exist, my friend. It's the escape mechanism. It's just in your head, the psychiatrist friend has told. Now, but then, our Charlie has another question. Now, who is not trying to escape in this modern day world? Everybody is going through insecurities. Everybody is going through depression, anxiety, panic, everything, right? Now, why only me? Why only I have been able to, I'm just an ordinary guy. Why have I been able to discover something like a third level for myself, if that's what you say, if that's the escape that you're talking about? Who doesn't want to escape, right? But how often is that the person who is going through miseries and worries and problems bumps into a third level all of a sudden? Let's get to know the third level discovery, with every inch of details. But as of now, he also stamp collecting behavior, or his stamp collecting habit that he has, the psychiatrist friend refers to it also as an act of escapism or a temporary escape from reality too. Now he says you collect stamps also because you want to escape all the, stamps of the, previous times, some 1980s, 1970s, all those you collect because you want to have an escape from reality. This is also symbolic of the fact that you want to do so, he says. Now, Charlie does not agree with it completely, and he says, see, my grandfather also used to collect stamps. Now, his time was fine. His time did not have great misery and all insecurities going on. Then why did he collect stamp? Do you have an explanation to that? If this is the explanation you give to my stamp collecting habit, then how can you explain his behavior? He's the one who started the stamp collecting whole, lineage that I have of, right? So how do you explain that? Asks our Charlie, 31-year-old married to Louisa. Now, after that, here's what happened. How did he discover our third level, or the third level that he is talking about very strongly, right? So one night, what happened is that he was, it was in the last summer, he was working late. He was getting late after work. What did he do? So it is easier to, if he takes the subway, he felt kind of like a shortcut to his house. So he took the subway than the bus. He was wearing a suit, a straw hat, and there was a fancy band around it. That is how he was looking. So he entered the first level where he saw these trains which were similar to the 20th century trains. Then he moved towards taking stairs, going down, and then to the second level. Till here, everybody has seen first level and second level. All the presidents, all the ministers, all the people know that there is first level and second level in the Grand Central Station in New York. Okay. Now, where is the third level? We don't see any third level, right? So then second level has suburban trains, trains that go to the urban areas and everything. And then after this, here is where you have to concentrate. This guy, Charlie, gets lost. Okay. I got lost. And, in the place like Grand Central Station, he feels like it happens very easily. It's a very interconnected place. There's a lot of stairs. There's a lot of places, rooms interconnected to each other. I think it happens very easily. He got to know, he's aware that he got lost, but he kept walking. Okay. So Grand Central Station, it feels like a growing tree. It's always interconnected. And he also explains us how one time what happened is that he got into a subway and then he started walking and then he came out in another place somewhere else. Okay. So it has happened to him, and for him, it feels like, I don't know, there might be one road, going through under this, there might be a tunnel under this Grand Central Station leading to some other way, going to some other way possible. If you, get down onto it, you might come up in another whole site in the city. That might also happen, he says. So it feels like Grand Central Station is like one whole growing tree. It has all interconnectedness to it. But at this point, I would want you to reflect on the fact that it can also be about the fact that he is talking about how, places in your mind are also very interconnected. If, as our psychiatrist friend has told us, if this is the psychological third level that we are talking about, an escape world that we are talking about, here the Grand Central Station can also stand for one's mind. It is always interconnected, right? You start thinking, your thought process, the train of process, it starts in one hand, at one point, for example, a coffee day or something. And then you end up thinking about a person or a place, and then it goes to your work, and then it goes to your math study, and then comes back to your room and somewhere else and leads to somewhere else altogether. So it's like a huge tree out there in your head. It's not just one thought at a time. Will you be able to take only one thought at a time? No, it's always interconnected to something or the other. Okay. It's crazy if you notice that. Then he says, okay, if you dig deeper into the Grand Central Station and its, metaphor as to what it stands for many years, it has been like a escape for people, or a refuge or an exit for people. People enter through something, you might get time to or introspect into something as you're walking through, and then when you come out, you might feel better or you might feel worse. Anything can happen over here in this Grand Central Station. So through the years, to many people, it has been a way of escape. But this thing, our friend Charlie has not, discussed with the psychiatrist friend, because it somehow connects with what our psychiatrist has told us, right? It is in a way of escape that you have found for yourself. It connects to that theory again. That's the reason Charlie has not told him yet. So that's how I might have gotten into it. I might have gotten lost, because it is actually a place of escape for many people, right? So never told my psychiatrist friend about that idea. Okay. So he knew the path was wrong, but he kept going and going. Let's see what he encounters there. Then he could, after a while, he could hear only his footsteps, meaning there were no people around. And a little while after that, he could hear the roar of, wind and, the roar of people talking, which means at the end somewhere there is an open place, or where there are people talking. So he, started walking towards that way. And then there were people talking. This was pretty similar to the level 2. Okay. There was no much difference. He felt like, okay, am I in the level 2 still? But then he started noticing the little differences that are there. What are the little differences? It was like level 2, but a little smaller. And there were fewer ticket windows. You have seen ticket windows in bus stations, railway stations and everything, right? So compared to the second level, there were fewer ticket stations and it was smaller. And the train gates were also very smaller in number. And the information booth was at the center. It was made out of wood. Okay. We don't see wooden made chambers or wooden made information centers in the recent times, or anywhere closer to the recent times, right? So it was pretty old looking. Now this third level that he's entering into, it is actually old looking, pretty similar to the level 2, but a little older. Okay. Same, if you look at it through the lens of older version, it will look like that. Now, so the man in the booth was wearing green eye shade and long black sleeve protectors. Now, his clothing also was not of this time period. There was something weird about this place. Let's get to know much more about it. Then there was, as he, was looking around, he also saw a brass spittoon. So brass spittoon is something that people in the olden days used to spit into. So that was also there on the floor, made out of brass. And there was a man. He suddenly saw a flash of light across the other way, and he saw that there was a man pulling out a gold watch out of his vest pocket, and he was looking at the time. Okay, so gold watch out of the vest pocket. And what was he wearing? He was wearing a derby hat, a black 4-button suit with tiny lapels, big black handlebar mustache. Okay, now wherever he saw, whatever he saw, these people were dressed up like they were in some 1890s or something. This was not the time period where he is in. It's, the time period that he belongs to is much modern. Okay. We saw that we talked about the 20th century trains and everything. Then how is it that people are wearing 1890s clothes over here? What is happening? Right? So he saw that he has handlebar mustache, and he's wearing derby hat, he's wearing a suit, everything. Now, next up, he had never seen so many fancy mustache and sideburns. You know what a sideburn is still here. So people in 1980s and all had the fashion of keeping sideburns still here. Okay, men especially. Now, whoa, I had not seen so many sideburns and fancy mustache and everything in the recent times. Where have I actually come? Wonders our Charlie. Then there was a woman who was dressed in how people would dress up in 1890s, okay, somewhere in the 1890s, with that mutton sleeves and long skirt that extends up until their boots and everything. That also he got to see. So she had button sleeves and wore a dress with, there was also a skirt which was buttoned till her shoes. So nobody wears such clothes in the era to the, time period where he belongs to. Where have I come to? What is happening? And then in another corner, he actually saw a stack of papers. Then he got to know, okay, this is the place where I have to go and check in order to understand better about where have I come, what is this place. Okay. Then he sees that on the paper it is printed. In the first cover page of the newspaper, there's something about the president that has been written and everything. And it says, printed on 11th of 1894. It is true then. His guess was right. People were dressed up like they were in 1890s somewhere. It is the paper. There is a paper that is printed in 1894, which means the scenario that he is seeing, or maybe at least imagining in his head or hallucinating in his head, we don't know. He actually has stepped into the 1894 scenario. Okay, and that's why people are dressed up like that. There is a brass spittoon that is kept over there, right? There are old looking wooden information booth at the center. The man is wearing green eye shade and everything, right? Now, so he wanted 2 tickets to Galesburg, Illinois. Now, why did he wanted to go to Galesburg? Let's talk about it later. He definitely, in the time period 1894, he definitely would want 2 tickets because he would want to take, it means that he can go anywhere around in this time period along with his wife. So he wanted 2 tickets to Galesburg, Illinois. Okay. Then, so for him, it was a wonderful town. He starts telling us about why Galesburg. Out of all the possibilities, out of all the places that he could go to, why only Galesburg? Okay. He says, have you seen it? Have you, do you have any idea about how wonderful of a town Galesburg is? No, please tell us about it. So it's like it would have big old frame houses. It would have huge lawns and, trees would hover with all their branches, creating a wonderful shade pathways, and branches meet overhead and roof the streets. You can imagine how beautiful that would look. Okay. So 1894, the summer evenings were also very long, meaning you would get a lot of daytime. And then men would be seen smoking cigars, talking to people, talking very quietly. Then women, you could be, they'll be waving palm leaf fans across their faces. Then there'll be fireflies all around. But it was a very peaceful world in 1894. Now you can also imagine this thing might have actually happened, or this thing could be his imagination, because he has. So now if you're sleeping, there are chances if you were thinking a lot about something, your subconscious level or the world of subconsciousness, they say that human subconsciousness is a world of wonder. It's a world of possibilities, unlimited possibilities. Now, it might have been the case that he had thought about this place so much, that he had thought about this escape world of his so much, that he actually felt like he was entering into it and he was there at that moment. So why 1894 in particular, and why this Galesburg, Illinois in particular, we have got to know now. Okay. There's also one particular why, the reason for why 1894. 1894 because World War I was still 20 years, yet to happen. There was no World War I till then. And World War II, obviously, 40 years far off in the future. It is not going to happen anywhere near 20 years. World War I, anywhere near 40 years, we are not going to have World War II. How amazing is that? World is filled with peace, and the time period and the area that looks like this with big lawns and all beautiful houses, men talking, women waving palm leaf fans. It's all peaceful, right? So that is the place where he wanted to go to. Okay. Then moving forward, so he went to the ticket counter, tried to take 2 tickets, but the person who was there to give the tickets, he was like, wait, that's not money. That ain't money, mister. Are you trying to trick with me? Are you trying to make fool of me? That's not gonna happen, right? Then it got hit Charlie that, right, if all of this is from 1894, obviously the money that is will be used, or the bill that will be taken will also be from the 1894s. No, how stupid am I? Why will this one work? It's not gonna work. And then there's nothing, great about jails even in 1894, right? So he goes from there, and money was old style bills. There was a big difference in how they looked. And the next day he went to a coin center. He came out somehow, and we get to know, the scene cuts there, and then we get to know that he's going to the coin dealers, the places where he collects stamps and everything. He goes there, draws the $300, which is nearly what they had, $300, okay, draws all of it, goes to the coin dealers, gives it there, and gets less than 200 old currency. Okay, it's not even the equivalent amount. He gets the less than 200 old currencies, and this is actually what bothered the psychiatrist friend. He, really worried my psychiatrist friend. I mean, to go to this world that you don't know if it really exists or what is this about and everything, you are actually putting in whatever the entire thing that you have as saving, $300 that you have, you put it into getting the less than 200 old currencies and wanting to go to this place that you don't know whether it exists or what is happening. It bothered the psychiatrist friend, of course. Then our Charlie says that it doesn't bother him. He doesn't care about it. Eggs were only 13 cents a dozen in 1894. I think I can make a living out of this one in that time period. He justifies that. Then, although he tried enough after that, Louisa was also pretty worried and he could not find the third. After that, he did not find the third level. No matter how much he tried, wandered into this Grand Central Station, he could not find. Although it got his wife and the psychiatrist friend left worried, he could not find the third level. And then he got back to collecting his stamps. He had to be happy with it after all. Later on, we get to know, now both him and his wife Louisa are both looking for this third level in the Grand Central Station. What made the difference? Now, he was not able to find it after all, and then he was eventually about to give up on that, right? Louisa is someone who had not seen the third level and she got worried about his behavior, right? Now, how is it that she is also looking for it now? What happened? What changed? Let's see. Now, we have proof. What is the proof that they have? Let's find out. My friend Sam Wiener disappeared. We don't know who this Sam Wiener is, but Sam Wiener disappeared. He's a country boy. Okay, most of his time he has spent in the urban area, city, set up and everything, right? Now, but the thing that, Charlie suspects is that Sam's a city boy, but I have told him about Galesburg. I have told him about the city, how it was, and he had told that this, the place sounds really sweet. He had, somehow expressed the desire that he likes the place, okay? I went to school there. He liked the sound of this place. So it's Charlie who has told our Sam Wiener about what Galesburg is, how beautiful of a city it is, and that he went to school over there. Sam Wiener liked the sound of this place. Okay, is he there? Has he gone to Galesburg? Now, if he has gone to Galesburg also, what is the difference? What proof do you have that there exists third level? We have so many questions, right? And that's where he is in. But in 1894, Galesburg, true, but in the Galesburg that existed in 1894, how is this possible, right? So this happened once when he was going through all the first covers meaning these stamp collectors. Whenever a new stamp arises or comes up in the market, they will courier themselves or send a post to themselves with a empty envelope that would have a blank sheet inside it, and they would put the stamp on it, then they would courier it to themselves. It will come to them. So this paper inside, it will not have anything. It will be a blank paper. One such day when he was going through all the papers, he found a letter, an envelope. He opened it. It was addressed to his grandfather, okay, in 1894, July 18th. Now, this paper was supposed to be blank. There should be nothing inside it, but there is content inside this paper. It is addressed to his grandfather in Galesburg, 1894, July 18th. What is written inside it? Who has written it? Let's find out. Curiosity is killing us, isn't it? It says Willard Street, Galesburg, Illinois, July 18, 1894. Charlie. It is addressed to Charlie, surprisingly. I got a wishing that you were right. It is true, you were right. It's strange how it has been addressed to his grandfather, and his grandfather has received it. He has kept it in his collection. He has never opened it. But how is it possible that somebody has written him a letter, and that somebody, as you can see, is Sam. Sam is from this era. How has he written a letter to his grandfather in the setting of 1894? And he says, I know that you were right now. I've got to know. Okay. Then I got to believing you that you were right. I thought, I was wishing, I hope that you were right. But then now I believe you. Why so? Charlie, it's true. I found the third level. Sam now claims to have found the third level. Why? How has that happened? I've been here 2 weeks, and right now down the street at the dailies, someone is playing a piano and they're all out on the front porch singing, seeing Nelly home, and I'm invited over for a lemonade. Come on back, Charlie. And Louisa, keep looking until you find the third level. It's worth it. Believe me. Now, there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of, mystery popping happening in our heads, right? Now, Sam has written this letter. Who is Sam? Now, let me, crack it up for you as well now. Now, Sam, our friend over here, who is Charlie, goes to the coin dealers and finds out that Sam came last week and he bought old currencies worth $800. And he actually claims to have found the third level, and that is where he is. And there he would have, started the business of little hay feeding and grain business, because he cannot go back to the business that he was doing before, because he was the psychiatrist friend that Charlie had. Okay, so cannot go back to the old profession in Galesburg in 1894. That's not when mental health and care for mental health was taken care of like this. So he is the psychiatrist friend that Charlie had, and he also now claims to have seen the third level and is asking Charlie and Louisa to keep looking for it and to find it because it's worth it. Now, if it is the psychological world that we were talking about, metaphorical world that we were talking about, how is it that Sam claims to have found it? He has written a letter, which is dated July 18, 1894. This is the cover that was not at all opened. It was sealed. Now that he opens it, he finds a letter inside this. It's a mysterious story. I have no words after this. It is up to your imagination, however you would want to interpret it. I would say Sam might also be referring to it as, you need to find your third level, meaning that something that you would call it as an escape, but also something that you would always wanted to do. This Galesburg is a place that he always wanted to go to and always have a living over here, right? So it was his vision, his idea, his dream. Maybe third level also symbolizes something that somebody is passionate about, really has dreamt about it for years. There's no, wrong or nothing mistake, no sort of mistake in it to find your third level, and because it is worth it. Okay. So we saw Charlie finding it. We saw Sam living in it right now. It could refer to your dream world. It could refer to your psychological escape from the world. It is at the end open for interpretation. I hope you enjoyed this lesson where we met Charlie in the beginning, who is the protagonist of the story. And he is 31-year-old. He has a wife called Louisa. And he is talking to us about having found a third level in the Grand Central Station. Now, if you think of the third level, there are only level 1 and level 2. There's no level 3. Okay. But how is it that he has found it? He has also consulted a doctor, a therapist, psychologist, and the psychologist has an explanation to it. It could be a waking up dream wish fulfillment. It might have been your escapism that you wanted. Modern world is full of miseries and worries and problems. Maybe you wanted to escape all of those, and that is the reason you have found this third level. Or that is the reason you have been telling us that you have found the third level. Your stamp collection behavior also tells us that you want everything that was there in the time period, everything except the time period that you are living in, right? That's an example for that. But Charlie does not approve of it. My grandfather was also in some other time and he had a good time. Why was he collecting stamps then? His time period was good, right? Then why did he start the idea, or it was his idea or his habit of collecting stamps? Then why did he start after all? Later on, he tells us how he discovered or bumped into this third level one fine day when he was late after work, summer night. He decided to take the subway, then the bus because it was the shortcut. And then as he entered, we see that he's wearing a suit, a straw hat. Then there is a fancy band around it. And then he goes to the first level, there's 20th century trains. Second level, there are, suburban trains. And then he gets lost. That is how he bumps into the third level, where everyone seems to be dressed up like they are in some 1890s, somewhere around that. And then he discovers a paper over there, which is published in 1894. That is when he realizes, oh, I have come to 1894, this, different time period altogether. I've gone back in time, or maybe I have entered this world through the time machine or a time tunnel, maybe. Okay. Later on, we understand that Galesburg is the place that he would really wish to go to because of all the physical features that it has. And, the time period is so precious because there was so much peace. The major wars of the world, such as the World War I and II, were 20 and 40 years far off. He would have appreciated to exist in that time period. Probably that is the reason he imagined that period. That could have been the possibility. But when he goes to buy 2 tickets, he cannot get the tickets. Why? The reason being, the currency is also different. If all of this is so much different, the currency is also obviously different. And hence, when he gets back out of the, Grand Central Station, he goes to the coin dealers, spends all the money that he has and buys the old currencies. But then it was of no use. He could not find the third level after that. Now, both him and his wife are looking for the third level because they get the first cover letter, which was addressed to his grandfather, which was then, with them for a very long period of time. But then he opens it and only finds it to read about Sam, who has written them the letter and who claims to have seen the third level as well, and who is living there for about 2 weeks. He says, it's worth it. You keep looking for it and come down here. So it was a very interesting story, and the ending was, mind-boggling. Read thoroughly about it, and we'll discuss much, much more in the live session that is about to come. Until then, take care. I'll see you all in the next class.